I'm going to call the meeting to order at 1:01 and turning it over to Evelyn to read the preamble to us, and then we'll start the agenda.
Okay, as a preliminary matter, this is Evelyn Noyes, Vice Chair, Newbury Council of Aging. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Janine Cunningham.
Here.
Bill DeMario.
Bill, you're muted. He's on twice. Why don't you keep going, Evan? We'll come back to Bill.
Okay, Jerry Dorr.
Jerry disappeared too.
They didn't want to listen to this.
This is a revolting development, and Sandy disappeared too. Well, let's get this out of the way. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, Dana's here. Hi, Dana. So Ev, why don't you get that out of the way, and then we'll go back and recognize
Okay.
the board members and Cindy.
All right, Joyce Macheros.
Here.
And Sandy Small, I guess she'll be on later.
Yeah, she was on.
Okay, and now we'll go to staff. When I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Cindy Correa?
Yes.
Okay, are there any anticipated speakers on the agenda? If so, please respond in the affirmative. Okay, any community members, please identify yourself.
Dana Pack is waving.
Okay.
And Bill DeMaio figured out how to unmute himself and switch to the iPad.
Or so Bill's here.
Okay. All right. So we'll continue. Good afternoon. This is the 20th day of April. Open meeting of the Council on Aging Board of Directors is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a public accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, Council on Aging is convening by telephone or video conference via Zoom, as posted in the agenda of the COA section of town's website, identifying how the public may join. You may join us by going to Zoom and enter the meeting ID, which is 818-437-64619. And the passcode is, the telephone is 1301-715-8592. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and the attendees are participating by video or telephone. Meeting materials were provided to the board's board members and were provided material prior to the meeting for review, or I believe there was material provided by Bill. Applicants or their representatives may be called upon to speak, and if needed, share information to the screen. Please state intention after you have been called. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. The chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comments, questions, or motion. Please hold until your name is called. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when not speaking. Please use earphones with tablets or cell phones. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. Please be aware that video participants can see you and that you should take care not to share the screen or your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. Board members should be called upon in first name alphabetical order to ease this process. If board members wish to engage and colloquial with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. After board members have spoken, the chair will afford the public comments as follows. The chair will seek questions through raised hand functions. For video conference participants, this function can be accessed by clicking on the participant option listed in the menu below the photo gallery. Hover your cursor in this area if you don't see it. Windows will open and display on the right. On the bottom of this participant area, you will see the list of phone participants, and on the bottom, you'll see the ability to click on button to raise hand. Please ensure your name is displayed. You may rename by using the More function next to your name. List your name, address, then your question. Telephone participants can use their phone keypad while in a Zoom meeting to raise hand by hitting 9. The chair will then seek questions from the public that have hit the raised hand button in order of which they are listed. The participant will be called on to identify their name, address, and their question. The chair will afford the applicant or their rep the opportunity to reply. Your hand will be lowered when you have been given the floor for your questions. The board will continue down the list of those in raised hand column and again afford the applicant or rep an opportunity to speak. Should there be any physical or electronic submittal of questions or concerns, they will be read for the record. And again, the applicant will be afforded the opportunity to speak if the issues raised have not yet been addressed. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. Additional agenda items will be called upon and handled in the same manner. And now I'll turn it over to Joyce.
Hey, the first thing on the agenda is the review and the approval of the March 15, 2021 meeting minutes. I'll give you a few minutes and then I'll ask for a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion we accept.
Everybody, go ahead, hon.
I made a motion that we accept the meeting.
Okay, and I just have to ask, is there any discussion? And you can raise your hand if you have any questions.
I second it just in case.
Okay, thank you. And let's take a roll call vote. Janine,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Jerry is lost. She is been back twice, but she's gone again. So then I will ask Sandy. You're muted, hon. And, but I know you, yes, and I say yes. So the minutes have been accepted. So the next item on the agenda is the review of the COA expenses since our last meeting.
Okay, I have several to go through. We've been a little bit busy, so there's quite a few expenses. The first one was $400 for the Northern Essex Elder Transport. That is the volunteer driving program that we are a part of. Our portion of that is $400. This is based on, from what I understand from the paperwork from Ginny, who's the woman that runs the program, the contribution is calculated using a 4-year average of round trips for the past 4 years. So our contribution, I don't know what other towns' contribution is, but ours is $400. So that was one expense. And then bottled water, that was the water for the cooler thing that comes here, was $19.94. And that was for early March. I believe there's another Ready Refresh invoice here a little bit later for the beginning of April. I must have missed that from our previous meeting, so I apologize. I did opt to skip the next delivery simply because we don't have people coming here. We have an abundance of bottled water here. I think I can only skip 2 a year though, so I've already opted to skip one because I don't think we're gonna need it. The next expense is $465.33. That was actually a reimbursement to me. I had ordered 2 canopies that you'll see on Thursday. I looked into and I reached out to other directors to find out what they're doing for their outdoor space and for canopies. And because they all have dedicated outdoor space, they've kind of gone all out with their canopies and have spent like upwards of $1,000. And those are things that are there, they're up for the season. We don't have that, obviously. So I got something online that's easy to put up, easy to take down. So the cost of those, I got 2 of them. They're 10 feet by 15 feet. So again, that's $465.33. The next grouping of expenses was, let me see, Amazon for $10.97. That's for envelopes. Another Amazon. Okay, so this was for $32.18. This might get a little confusing, Sandy. I had ordered index cards for office supplies here. They were literally like $2.99 and I got charged $32.18 and it was a shipping charge and whatnot. So that amount actually came off of this same bill. So it's the charge is there and then there's a deduction of the same amount, just so you know, because I had them return those and then I went on Amazon Prime to get the same exact thing for $2.26. So that's another expense on this bill. $119.99 was also reimbursement to me. The online tool that we use to make our newsletter and to do all of our social media posts and all of our flyers is called Canva. It's an online tool. They provide a lot of templates, a lot of different options. I chose to buy the annual subscription. It just opens up a lot more options for us in terms of photos we can use and templates and all the different kind of bells and whistles that go along with it. So that's an annual fee. So that's $119.99. And then again is the next Ready Refresh for $37.93. And again, that was the early April one. So the first one I told you was the early March, and then this is early April. The next is again a reimbursement to me for $45.16. I don't think I have them with me. For the grab and go that we're doing tomorrow, I ordered little packets of flower seeds. They're wildflower seeds, and I ordered these online from Etsy, and it's printed on the bottom from your friends at the Newbury Council on Aging. But it's a nice little flower packet seed to put with, that's our gift with the grab and go for tomorrow. So that was $45.16. And then Amazon for $13.66. That is for laminating pouches. So this is a copy of my vaccine card and I laminated it. I made a photocopy of it. front and back. My initial intention was to laminate people's vaccine cards. And after I ordered those, I read a couple of different articles that was concerned about the little label that they put on at the vaccine clinic that has your lot number. There was concern that if you put it through a heat laminating device, it could just turn that label black and then you'd lose all that information. So what I've done, and I don't have the expense here yet, but I've ordered, they're like plastic pouches that you'd see, like if you go to a football game and you have season tickets, you'd put your tickets in this kind of laminated pouch. It can open. So I've ordered those, but my intention with these laminating pouches is to offer people that we can make a photocopy of your vaccine card, and we can laminate the photocopy for you and then give you the pouch that you can keep your original in at home. But if you need to take your card with you for any reason to your doctor's office or whatnot, at least you're taking a copy and it's not your original. So that was, again, $13.66. And then just today I spoke with the town accountant. I'm going to, as you can see, a lot of those were reimbursements to me. I'm going to open a petty cash account here. We are going to continue to reach out to Stonewall Kitchen to do activity kits. There's a gardening one that we're going to be doing where we're going to reach out to a local gardening store, and to have petty cash on hand and pay in cash and get the receipt and reconcile everything here will be easier, as opposed to me constantly using my credit card to buy things and get reimbursed. So that's the point of having the petty cash. So that is, I'm going to do a petty cash account of $300 here. And that'll be locked up, and then I will provide the receipts to the accountant. And those are the expenses. Do you want me to go on? Joyce, you're on mute.
I muted myself because there's a lot of noise downstairs. Review of this from the COA director.
Okay, so I will start with donations we received. So I have, I think, 4 donations for a total of $2,072. The first one is for $22 from Ruth Yasser. She had sent a note to us with her donation. We had gotten her a ride to her vaccine clinic, so she sent in a donation to us. The next one is for $25 from Pauline Mahoney. She sent in a note that just said, "Thank you for your help. It was greatly appreciated." And we helped her get a vaccine appointment. So my assumption is that that was the reason for her donation. The next one is $25 from Ruth Rock. She did not send a note, but again, someone that we helped with the vaccine clinic appointment. And then finally, $2,000 from the Newburyport Society for the Relief of Aged Women. They gave us $2,000, as well as, I believe, the other 2 councils on aging that they work closely with, as a means to assist with COVID relief. So the president of that society, Jocelyn Cosentino, had called me one day and said, we'd like to donate this. So we are currently working together to try and figure out a plan for how we can utilize these funds. Again, we want to try something with outreach, something with food. It will likely be outdoors, but we're working on that plan. But that was a pretty significant, very generous donation. And I believe all those were discussed at select board meetings. Any questions on the donations?
No, it's
Okay.
fine. Thank you.
The next item I just wanted to bring up is our May newsletter. So we are going with a new printer. I thought we would have one more issue with our previous printer, but he did not take well to being, replaced with a new printer. So he did say no, he was not going to do another issue. So the new printer that we're going with is doing an issue for us kind of as a bonus, a little bridge issue. So it is, they gave us 8 pages. I could not condense all of the information I wanted to send out into 8 pages. So it is going to be a total of 10 pages, but I have sent off 1 double-sided page to be printed. And I will insert that into what the newsletter company gives us. So it will be a total of 10 pages. It is in color. There's going to be 2,200 copies of this issue. Ongoing, it will be 2,400 copies. So we will mail, email, distribute around town into town library, town hall, places that will allow us to. Deb Kennedy, our Friends Board Chair, is willing to take some to distribute as well. So if any of you think of any place else we could put them, we're happy to call and ask if we can leave some of our newsletters. It'll also be posted on social media. So because this one is kind of a bridge for us, there's not going to be any ads in this newsletter, but ongoing there will be 2 pages of ads. So it'll be a total of a 12-page newsletter, 10 pages of content, 2 pages of ads. And all right, so as far as programs goes, we have connected with the Theater Workshop, which is a group of students, grades 3 through 12 in the Triton School District. They are working on different types of, I'll call them performances. So some of the things they're doing with us to connect with us is they're doing public service announcements. They've already got one on Channel 9 talking about our coffee and chat event this Thursday. They are going to help us with grab and go reminder calls. So we have this grab and go meal tomorrow. They have a list of residents with phone numbers to call to remind them that the meal is tomorrow. We've already told all the residents you're going to get a call from a student, so don't be alarmed. Why is this child calling me? But it's part of this. It's a way to help the kids gain confidence. It's a great interaction with a senior. I think it's kind of a win-win on both ends. The Theater Workshop is also going to do some at-home performances. So what they'd like to do is they're working on different kind of skits and songs and whatnot. They would like to go to residents' homes to do like a personal performance outside. So the resident can stand at their door or on their deck or in their driveway, and the students will be in the driveway, perform a little song, and then they give a gift bag to the senior. So Janet and Karen and I are working together to try and identify seniors that we think would really benefit from this. I talked to Evelyn too about possibly doing this for a larger group at one of her buildings. That way we're kind of engaging a lot more people instead of just one at a time. But based on what I saw from the public service announcement they did, for the event this Thursday, they're great. They're going to do a great job. The next program we're working on that we have scheduled is for a Fenway Park virtual tour towards the end of May. We're really going to sort of promote this Thursday at our event, and it's going to be in the newsletter, and we'll put out social media. We only did 10 spots. Zoom is not really a big seller. So I didn't want to do too many spots, but it's a virtual tour. There's a tour guide who kind of gives you a tour of the park. There's a drone video, and then there's some trivia at the end. So it sounds pretty cool. And we thought, if we can really get the word out there, maybe that will lead to more opportunities for other Zoom programs. The virtual programs that we're doing, we have quite a few going on. We have connected with Mass Access, which is an umbrella organization for community television in Massachusetts. We worked with Ethan, who is the Newbury Channel operations specialist. He's connected with Mass Access to make sure that we have the membership there, and then all of the programs that are on that, under that umbrella, are available to us. So we've been looking at different things to try and get on there. One of the ones I know we got from there was Cooking as Self-Care, which is a dietitian from, I think she's through Mass Councils on Aging, and she does cooking demonstrations and talks about nutrition. And she's really funny. So those are, I believe she does them once a month. So we're trying to get those on. We're a little bit behind, she started in January, so we're trying to catch up a little bit, but those are really good. We have 2 exercise programs from the Center for Balance, Mobility, and Wellness at Gordon College. A woman from the Registry of Motor Vehicles had come to Town Hall in the hearing room and had recorded, I think, 3 different segments of information about the registry for seniors. So that will be on. There are 2 segments from the Alzheimer's Association. One is kind of talking about the myths of dementia and Alzheimer's disease. And the other one is an interview with a neurologist regarding research about dementia and Alzheimer's. We have a program from V&A Care regarding stroke prevention. We have an All Things Aging program through Elder Services of Merrimack Valley and North Shore. That's a nutrition program. And we have a Beatles and Beyond tribute concert. I believe that's airing on the weekends. For Memorial Day weekend, we have gone through Mass Access to try to find several different we also found, I believe there was the World War II memorial dedication was recorded. So we asked Ethan to show that on Memorial Day weekend. And then we kind of picked a bunch of things off that Mass Access to sort of intersperse throughout the Memorial Day weekend, just so there would be some programming on. And then we are working towards doing an outdoor yoga or a fitness class, maybe an outdoor gardening class. We've reached out to an artist who used to come here to the Council on Aging, Bill Duke, to see if that's something that he was willing and able to do, or perhaps he'd be able to record. We could record him with a painting, put supplies together for people, and they can either do it with him as he's teaching, or simply watch, kind of like a Bob Ross type thing. So we're working on that. The grab and go meal I told you is scheduled for tomorrow. We've reserved 45 meals this month. It is glazed ham and scalloped potatoes. That kind of held some people back. They're not, they don't eat ham or whatever. So we do have several leftovers. We'll work on trying to get those out the rest of today. Activity kits that we're going to set up. I think I told you before, like I said, we did the Stonewall Kitchen. We had done the adult coloring book. So we're doing, I have 4 kits that have note cards from, I think we talked about this the last time, the note cards from the artist who has done different scenes from Newburyport in the area. The note cards come with stamped envelopes and a pen. We're going to do air plant terrariums. It's like a glass globe, and we're going to put an air plant in there with some rocks and some directions on how to keep your air plant alive. It's not like a regular plant. You actually take the air plant out and you soak it for a bit, and then it like lives in this little globe. It's kind of an easy to care for plant, as opposed to some other plants that are a little bit more difficult. We ordered some grow your own sunflower kits for those people that would like to try a hand at gardening. It's a little terracotta pot. It comes with the seeds and the mix and a watering can. Tiny, it's not like a giant sunflower, it's like a miniature one. So we ordered some of those. And then we did Stonewall Kitchen. We've done pancake mix, cinnamon bun mix, and a guacamole starter kit. So those are all listed in the newsletter for people to call us to reserve those. Our first outdoor program, like I told you, is this Thursday at 10:30. It's the Changing Tides Cafe and Donut Shop. Food truck will be here for people to purchase coffee and pastries. I have asked town leadership to attend. I've put it out to the select board, to the department heads in town. So I'm hoping for a good turnout. I know the weather doesn't, today's a beautiful day, of course, but Thursday looks a little bit cool. But it's our first one. We're going to see how it goes. And then the plan is to try and offer a lot more outdoor programs. I had reached out to Tracy, the town administrator, to see what our options are in terms of outdoor space. And she gave me something like 6 different places that are town-owned property. So we're going to try and sort of spread around and see what we can do. And we have these great canopies. So I'll have the DPW help me set those up. And then wherever we go, we'll have canopies, whether it's to, hopefully shade from the sun and not protect from rain, but we'll have those. I have worked with the editor of the Newburyport Daily News to co-sponsor a candidate forum. That will be held on Tuesday, May 4th at 6:30 via Zoom. I think I saw Dana, you said you were going to be there. Good. So that will be both for the select board, as well as there's 2 people running for school committee, for Triton School Committee. So I believe the school committee candidates get the first 15 minutes. They'll have, I believe they have an opportunity to make an opening statement. Richard Lodge, the editor, will then ask questions. Then they can make a closing statement. Same thing with the select board. He has pretty strict rules on, timing and who goes, who speaks when, but he's got that all sussed out. And from what I understand, he's done this before. I think he's doing one with Salisbury this week as well. So, but I'm going to put something out on social media. It will be via Zoom. So if people cannot join live, it will be recorded. And I've asked Ethan to show that a couple of times a day, starting the day. So if we're doing this on 5/4 at 6:30 in the evening, I'm going to ask him to start that on 5/5 and show it a couple of times a day, right up until election day. So that way people can see what the candidates have to say. Karen gave me a report on the volunteer program. For the month of March, we had 47 hours of volunteer time. That included telephone reassurance calls, library book deliveries, grocery shoppers, you folks as board members, given by a total of 9 volunteers. That was a decrease from last month, but we're pretty sure that has to do with the fact that we didn't have a newsletter. Last month, we had a lot of volunteers who helped us with the newsletter prep the last time. The NEAT program has started using a new scheduling software, and Karen has been trained in that. And then she is working with the volunteers to make sure they're trained. It's just an easier way for her to say, hey, she puts in the system, there's a ride, all of the volunteers can see it, and whoever grabs it first. It's just kind of a great way for them to stay connected, and it's great for tracking all the information for NEAT. As far as the transportation statistics go for the month of March, we did provide 8 rides through NEAT. 4 of those were for vaccine clinics. The van took 4 individuals to medical appointments. 2 of those were actually for vaccines. Karen did put flyers regarding the transportation services at Oak Ridge, Quaker Hill, and over at Newbury Village, so people know that the van is up and running, that we have NEAT as an option, just to let people know that there are different options for them. The theater workshop group will do a public service announcement on transportation, so I'm anxious to see that. And we spoke with Jim, our van driver. He is available on election day to give people rides to the polls. So if people, we're going to put that in the newsletter. So if people need rides to the polls on election day, we have options for them. COVID vaccine clinics, that was sort of our life for a bit, kind of all day, every day. It's died down a bit, and I would say it's because I think a lot of people have received their vaccines. We here at the Council on Aging scheduled appointments for 160 Newbury seniors, had contact with over 340 seniors since January just regarding vaccines. But a lot of people, that doesn't include the people we called and they said, no, I'm all set, I already got my vaccine. So there was a lot of people, I was actually surprised, a lot of people, even towards the beginning when things were pretty hectic, either they had support from a friend or family member, or they did it themselves and they were all set. So, and the state keeps records of the amount of seniors. And the last time I looked at that, the amount of population in the town that has been vaccinated. And our 75 plus group was really high, that most people had been vaccinated. So that was pretty good news. But those Lower Merrimack Valley Regional Collaborative Clinics are still ongoing. There's one this weekend. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. they're releasing a link to the public to book an appointment. Now everybody is eligible for vaccines. So if you know someone who needs a vaccine, best time to log in. And I would suggest they go to the Town of Amesbury website. We do have a link on our website, but it takes you to the Amesbury site. And then there's a link on the Amesbury site. So to skip a step, I'd suggest just going directly to the Town of Amesbury website. You scroll down, it tells you when the clinics are, and then if there's a link available, it will be right there. They usually do the Saturday one at 8 a.m. and the Sunday one at 12 p.m. I know there is still talk of clinics during the week in West Newbury and Georgetown, but I haven't heard of anything coming to fruition yet, but it was still in talks to, not everybody can do a weekend, so it's an option. I have worked with McNeely EMS. I reached out to our fire department to have the COA staff certified in CPR, first aid, and the AED machines that we have here. I specifically also need to have our van driver certified in those. It's part of his training that's required. So I have set that up for the beginning of May. So McNeely EMS, I was told, was the best place to go to in terms of the education. So I reached out to them and scheduled that. So all of us, including our van driver and Meals on Wheels driver, will be certified in CPR, first aid, and like I said, the defibrillators. Do you have a question, Janine? You want me to stop?
Yeah, do we have an AED on the van?
So I have 2 here in the building, and my thought is he would take it with him whenever he goes somewhere. I
Okay.
didn't necessarily want to leave it on the van, but
No.
yes, we have 2.
Yeah, totally agree. That's great.
For multiple reasons.
Yeah.
First, weather, you don't know if it's going to affect, but also you just don't want it taken.
Right.
That was my thought,
Yeah.
Conflict of interest, I think I've received from almost everybody. But if you question if I have it or not, just, shoot me an email, but I'm pretty sure most of you had sent me the certificate and the other acknowledgement form. So thank you for that. We did add, I think I told you I was going to add 2 more phone lines here. So we now have a total of 4 telephone lines. So even if all 3 of us are on, another line can still ring. The 3 of us also all have voicemail. So when you get if you get the voicemail, you'll, if one of us doesn't pick up, you get an automated, it's actually my voice kind of directing you. If you need to speak to Karen, press 1, if you need to speak, whatever. But we all have a voicemail, and then anything that is sort of, you don't know who you want to speak to, I say, just, you want to leave a message in the general mailbox, press this, it gets dumped into my mailbox. So no matter what, you're going to get somebody. But so far that's been working out really well. I told you about the 2 canopies. I did want to mention, I'm sure you all are aware, the town meeting on Tuesday, April 27th at 7 p.m. at Triton. We have 2 items on the warrant. The first one is we're Article 25 to amend the bylaws to include the Council on Aging. And then we're Article 26, which establishes the senior property tax abatement program. So we're legit, but this just makes us really legit, to put us on the books, so to speak. So that is, again, April 27th at 7 p.m. It is in person at Triton. And then just a reminder, the Council on Aging is still closed to the public. We're having people come in by appointment. So if any of you guys need to come by, you just call, let me know. Volunteers, we're kind of doing on an appointment basis as well. I only have one little lady who sort of wanders over here periodically. She does have memory impairment, so I'm not going to tell her she can't come in because she doesn't have an appointment, but for the most part, we're asking people to make appointments, just as a reminder. And I think that's it for me.
Well, Sandy, thank you. I'm sorry, Cindy, thank you. That was so impressive. My goodness. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Cindy? Jerry?
Cindy, when you were first talking about all those programs that you're getting, they're not on Zoom, they're on the community TV channel?
Right. Because that's the way we seem to be reaching the most people. Though how can you really tell how many people are watching
Right.
them on TV? However,
And that's channel what?
Channel 9.
Okay.
And we have had several people call to say that they've really enjoyed the yoga class, or, they call us and let us know. So we know it's getting to people.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you.
But I would like to, if we can do more Zoom, I'm going to see how this Red Sox thing goes. I had done a presentation with Elder Services on nutrition, I want to say a couple months ago, and we had limited interaction with that, but it might have been the topic that people weren't really interested in. So maybe the Red Sox, the Fenway Park, will draw more people. We'll see.
Thank you.
I did the 2 of the things. I listened to the registry, and that was great. And I
Okay.
did the yoga
Good.
and the
Yep.
meditation. And that was really good.
Good, I'm glad.
I enjoyed them. I think I sent you a little email telling
You
you
did.
how great they were. Anybody else like to talk to Cindy? We all
Evelyn,
set?
Hand up?
Yes, I have a question. Uh, One regarding the theater group, Cindy.
Yes,
Now that, if you want to relay this message, now that we have warmer weather, I could conceivably set up chairs outside, 6 feet apart, so that this little theater group could perform for either Oak Ridge or Quaker Hill.
awesome, okay.
Great.
And my second question is, the stimulus money that you received early on, is there a balance on that?
Do you mean the grant from Elder Services?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is still funds left. We're trying to spend that money.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we reach out to people for programs, oh, we'll do it for no charge, which is great. But then I still need to spend this money. So that's why we're really kind of trying to ramp up the activity kits that we're putting together for people to take home. We're going to try and think of something to do maybe with food, where we can put even like bags of non-perishables together, something. We're still working on that, but I have until June 1st. We actually had until April 1st to use all those funds. And they had not been used. They hadn't been touched at all when I came here in October. I don't know when that check was actually deposited, but I think a lot of other councils on aging kind of had a head start on me because they had already been doing programs. So I did request an extension, so I have until June 1st now, depending on how things go and how much money I can spend. You wouldn't think it would be that hard, but I might have to ask for another extension. But we also now have this $2,000 from the Newburyport Society for the relief of aged women. So it's such a gift, but we're trying our best to spend the funds on things that are going to reach as many people as possible.
Okay, refresh my memory. The first one from Elder Services, that had a designation, is that correct? Had to be used for, well, I realize COVID related, but was there specifics about that?
I don't know if this is me, Evelyn, I just totally lost you. You sounded very jumbled. Hang on, my internet connection is unstable. Let me see if I can move. Sorry, Karen, I'm just going to come out here for a minute. Can you say that again, Evelyn?
Sure. I remember there were specifics about the use of that stimulus money. Can you refresh my memory what it was attached to? I think there was a label on it, but I can't remember what it was.
It was supposed to be used for outreach or nutrition, I believe, were the two options.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And we do have Mother's Day coming up in May, if there's anything you can think of to use it there.
Yeah, we'll work on that. Maybe something with flowers. I know is Janet was thinking flowers would be a great something to get out to people.
You could attach a chocolate bar. That would be nutrition too. And the other question I have is, are you aware of any, I understand that the towns are going to be receiving more stimulus money. Does that go into a big bucket somewhere, or is it designated for like the Council on Aging Department?
I haven't heard of that. So
Okay. All
I
right.
don't know. I'm wondering if it, like, I know they had a COVID relief fund, I think, too. Like if I need to have cleaning supplies and whatnot, I go through the police department to get those because I believe there's a specific fund for that kind of thing, but I haven't heard of any more.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so the next thing on our agenda is from Bill DiMaio. Am I pronouncing that right, Bill?
You did a great job.
Oh, great. You're going to present the tabulated results of the collected surveys.
Okay, Cindy, I think for me to share my screen, I have to be co-host.
Yeah, muted.
Oops,
Cindy.
sorry, I just made you the co-host.
Okay, let's see if I can do this.
Can I ask a question while he's doing that? Can you hear that horn in the background? I think I'll just mute myself. There's so much noise going on here.
How about that? Are you able to see that?
Yep, I can see it. Everybody
Okay,
else?
how about everybody else?
Yes.
Okay, this is how I collected the data. So before I go to the summary page, you can see that we had, I established some counts. The first column would be the count of people who submitted their age. The second column that says count is the actual count of the surveys that were returned. And then we had the age for the 67 people that did report it. The surveys that were done online to the town website did not ask to have the age written down. Okay, and then we collected the other data about whether people live alone or they have family in the area. Where are you from? Byfield, Old Town, or Plum Island? And what kind of social media do you use, or is it none? So, this looks like it's condensed, but in reality, I chose to freeze the header, and the spreadsheet actually goes down forever. Okay. And then what I did was I counted up what was inside. I had the computer count up what was inside each column to get these numbers down below. Okay. On the second tab, we had some questions that we asked on the survey. And like for activities, and these are the different activities that we had listed that people could choose. We had a category that said other, and some people chose to write in some activities that they'd like to see. Every time someone mentioned crafts, I would put an X in a row. And then ultimately, I had the computer count up how many X's were in that row and establish a number. Okay, it's the same thing for services. These are the different services that people said they would like. People sort of endorsed these services that the Council on Aging could provide. Okay, and same process. On the next tab, this is became pretty interesting. We kind of asked, what in your daily life, what are your top 3 worries or concerns? And this is what people chose. Okay, same methodology. And then, if you do get involved with the Council on Aging, how do you think your life will improve? And this is how people responded. Okay, the same, I use the same process. And then what I did was I summarized this. So we had mailed out more than 2,200 surveys, plus it was possible to access the survey online. Unfortunately, we only got 180 responses. I think Cindy has 2 more, so it'll be up to 182. That's only 8% of the surveys that were returned. To me, this is very disappointing, especially in a town where people are going to be considering finding a new home for the Council on Aging. I had wished that we had 50% response where people would say, this is what we'd like to do. And it shows that they're engaged rather than be apathetic, okay? The different demographics of people who live alone, not alone, family nearby, no family nearby. 86 people lived in Byfield, 56 in Old Town, 36 in Plum Island. Facebook seems to be the primary social media for a lot of people, 109 people. 53 people in town who responded don't use social media. And I have to be honest with you that some of these numbers don't add up to 180 because some people chose not to respond to some of the questions that we asked. Okay. When I showed you the tab for activities, I took the number of responses who wanted exercise classes, so on and so forth, and I put that number, and now I've ranked these by activity. So by far, the most popular activity is exercise classes at 86. I know at one time Evelyn was concerned about walking club, interested in walking club. That's 22 people said they were interested in walking club. But you can see the different categories. I don't really intend to read them all for you. I think I sent them out to you by email. You can look at them. And some of the activities, the least, you can see just one response from people in these categories. Ladies' breakfast. One person interested in ladies' breakfast, and the men must have been hungry. There were 13 people interested in men's breakfast. And then for the ranking of services, the most popular service, as you'd expect with the pandemic, was flu shots, vaccinations, 74, grab and go meals, 44, getting an opportunity to meet with people, COA staff, town officials, state reps, so on and so forth privately, big interest, 39. And you can read the rest. And one person was actually looking for grief support. So, and then again, the summarization for in your daily life, what are your top 3 worries or concerns? Most people were concerned about their health and will their savings last? Then it kind of diminishes into single digit numbers. And you can read them at your leisure, but those are the top 3 worries people responded with. And then if you were to participate in the available services and activities, do you believe that you will? And these are categories that we had plugged in, and this is how they responded. I mean, 107 people said they would expect to be more physically active. 63 people said they would know where to learn about services and benefits, feel happier, so on and so forth. So those are the tabulated results. And I mean, I see that the ranking of the activities and the ranking of the responses to the questions give Cindy and her staff and the board of directors ideas of maybe providing some things we don't provide, or the different priorities to set the things. But I think it's useful information. But once again, I just wish more people had responded. Any questions about what I did and how I did it?
Not a question, Bill, but I just wanted to thank you because it just made looking at it so much easier. So thank you very, very much.
Well,
And
you're
how
welcome.
did that? That was really great, Bill. And I'm so glad to see exercise is important to people.
I will say too, at our event this Thursday, our intention is to have blank copies of the survey and asking people to fill them out. So just another way to get more engagement, hopefully.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned this before. I did bring the topic up in the section on the Board of Selectmen meeting when they talk about citizen concerns up front. And I just said that, they were all obviously aware of the survey for the Council on Aging. And I just said that the response hasn't been all that great. And I asked them to talk to friends, neighbors, enemies, anyone who would fill out the survey and get us the information. We really wanted the information. Is very useful to us. So perhaps Thursday I'll have more work to do.
That would be nice. I haven't checked the boxes here due to the weather and everything, but I will do another round soon.
Perfect.
I have a question, comment, whatever. I'm not too worried about surveys because people generally don't like to fill out surveys. I think a mail out survey, as opposed to a sit down in front of a person, you get a far better response. And I also think, because you're right, Bill, this is not going to look good when we stand before people and ask them to support a new council on aging. But I also think that you have to look at where we're at. We're in the baby boomer generation, I believe, and you have to look at the next generation, which is the Generation X, I believe. And so you have to think about the types of people that are in that particular generation that we're dealing with right now. And I'm not going to go into a lot of details on that, but I think it's a consideration. Cindy, what do you feel?
I think, I mean, it's hard to say. I agree. I think, unfortunately, I think people see the survey in their newsletter, they put it aside, I'll do it later or whatever, and they never get back to it. We might get surveys in 6 months from now, you know, where people, oh, I forgot to do this and send it in. But perhaps when we see people on Thursday and, you know, even if we're not tabulating them after April, it's still a matter of the Council on Aging staff asking people, and I put it every time in the newsletter. We'd love to hear from you. Tell us what you're looking for. You know, we are open to ideas. We want to know what you want from us. We're here for the seniors. So I can put together things, or our program coordinator can put together things, but if it's not what they want, they're not going to come. So, you know, the more we can get people to call us, and honestly, I would say this is a positive side effect of COVID, is we've talked to so many people. And I think people realize we're here and we're open to, you know, talking, and they know we're real people, that they're more, hopefully they're more apt to call and reach out to us. So
I agree with that, Cindy, and I think you've done also a great job in terms of having the daily news articles about our specific Council on Aging and what you're doing for people.
I got a little jealous of other councils on aging being there, so I called and I said, "Hey, can we get in there too?"
I sense that. But Cindy, the 2,200, soon to be 2,400 newsletters that go out, they're all addressed specifically to seniors.
Yes. So a lot of them were, you know, we were duplicating efforts. So there's something like from the census list that I got from the town clerk, which was probably effective last January, not 2021, but 2020, because I got it from her in October.
Yeah.
2,424 people, 60 plus in Newbury.
So how many residents are in Newbury? 5,200, 5,400?
Maybe Stu, maybe have 7,000 residents here.
So 2,200 or 2,400 divided, you know, what percentage of 7,000 residents? That's a big chunk of numbers. And
it's a significant amount, yeah.
I read something that Dana Packer wrote, and it was like he was very pleased with the services that the Council on Aging provided to his parents. And his hope is that when he moves into the golden ages, that he can get the same support from the Council on Aging. And I understand what Evelyn said about the different generations, but right now, I mean, 2,200, 2,400 is a big slug of the people who live in Newbury. And I hate to sound pessimistic, but hey, when you go to the town meeting and you see fewer than 300 people show up to vote for the financial decisions for the town, that's pretty apathetic as well. So that's where I'm parked right now, okay?
Yeah.
But I think this is an opportunity, and listen, if you get responses, surveys in 6 months, I'll still tabulate them for you.
Thanks, Bill.
Well, thank you, Bill, very much for this presentation. I'm going to ask Cindy or Bill to put the screen down now, and we'll move on to the next. Thank you. So on the agenda, the next discussion is going to be about what we know so far about the new town hall. And I was wondering if everybody would like a moment to talk of their thoughts and what they have seen. And if they would participate in that, that would be great. So I will go around and I'll start with Janine. Sorry about that.
Um, Are you talking about the combination of town hall and,
I'm talking about, first of all, our COA layout, our COA plan. And then if you wanted to mention the combination, it's all part of the factor.
okay. My major one concern, to be very, very honest, is the access to Council on Aging after hours, because people are gonna have to enter on that level and take the elevator up or take the stairs up, and that leaves the Council on Aging wide open. Now, I mean, I realize,
That's probably an easy fix, and I'm sure people are going to listen on that. And I know Cindy has some ideas, and we'll talk to her when we're done and see what input she has.
I think
Is
that my major concern was that, and, you know, the ability, if it isn't fixed, the ability of somebody hiding within there and spending the night, we would have no idea. So if we had somebody, you know, having a meeting upstairs in, you know, an open meeting for whatever, somebody could just sneak on in and, you know, and who knows where they'd be within our area. So, but other than that, I thought it was okay. I mean, it kind of met everything we were looking for. You know, I've heard people comment about the size that they think we're asking for is way too much, but I don't think they realize the opportunities and the possibilities and the room to grow into the future. Because, you know, I mean, it just, nobody, you know, the fair amount of people that you get when it was not pandemic time, that would come in and out of Council on Aging. I mean, it was a reasonable amount, but it got so small, people just, that, you know, you just couldn't, I mean, why would you go there, you know? But if I could sit and play cards with friends or sit in the library and just read the newspaper because I don't want to get it at home or whatever, you know, join somebody there for lunch or, you know, I think that opens up a lot of possibilities for a lot of people that just want a little company, you know? I mean, Frank, I live alone here. I hardly see anybody all day. And not just because of pandemic, it's just, you know, where I live and you know, what I'm doing. So it would be nice to have a place to go and gather with somebody and, you know,
Or even
chit
just to look at 4 different walls, you know?
exactly, chit chat,
Yeah.
whatever, you
Right.
know? The other thing was, I don't know if that outdoor space is enough for what Cindy was thinking. Is there any way we could turn it around and give it back to parking and then take some outdoor space around the front of the building, which would be on High Street? That seemed to be a nice, long, grassy area there. I wondered if maybe, you know, that would give us more gathering space actually, rather than, what was it, 2 or 3 parking spots right there? It just didn't seem enough. I mean, if you wanted to have a real outdoor, could we really do a gathering like we're hoping to do, you know, Thursday? Whether it's together with town hall or not, I really, I don't want to be piggybacked on so that we can pass a building if you understand what I'm trying to say. But on the other hand, if it really works and it meets our need and it can cut some costs for the town, I would be amenable to it. But I don't want to be the step, you know, the redheaded stepchild that allows for people to vote for us and then have to do town hall too, or whatever, if you get what I'm trying to say.
I do. Thank you. Bill, do you have some comments or questions or?
Well, I mean, I've looked at the layout and the layout is pretty nice, I
Yeah.
think. And I think that Janine's concern can be eliminated pretty easily. I think it was even brought up at that meeting that you had at the time about how would you prevent people from getting into within the Council on Aging. And I also sense that there's a lot of thought in the town that people have of, we have other opportunities, land, the town owns land in other places, perhaps you could put it there. And there might be more room. I heard the gentleman at the review say, yeah, if you separated the Council on Aging from the town hall, you'd end up with, you wouldn't have the combination of having one air conditioning system, so on and so forth. You have a lot of consolidation that could happen. And if you built two separate buildings, collectively, there'd be more than one building that housed both town hall and Council on Aging. I understand all that. And I think that, I fully expect that at the town meeting, someone will get up and talk about presenting other opportunities other than combining the Council on Aging facility with town hall on the present site of the old town hall. And talk about the finances of doing that, the priority of doing Council on Aging first, town halls being rented for $160,000, $172,000 a year. I think it's, I think it's going to be pretty fluid, and I hope it doesn't end up like the police station, that we talk about this for 15 to 20 years. I mean, I've been in town for 42 years, and I remember the day when Dick Cunningham offered to donate property on Scotland Road for the town to build a Council on Aging building. And I think it was rejected at town meeting, probably because the town was on the verge of bankruptcy at the time and couldn't afford to even make a building there. So, this has been kicking around for a lot of years. And I'm certainly in favor of giving the Council on Aging a proper building that takes care of everyone's needs. So it's going to be interesting. There's going to be a lot of lively debate about this, I think. So, but in terms of just the Council on Aging and the layout that was done, I think it's great.
Thank you. Thank you. Jerry, have you had an opportunity to think
I
about?
did, and I agree with Bill. I think it's adequate. I think it's a great location, and I'm as fearful as he is that this is going to become an item that goes from town meeting to town meeting. The price goes up and we don't have the space 10 years from now.
Thank you. Evelyn?
I have a lot of thoughts on this. I like the design of the building. I haven't been convinced yet that it's that 25 High Road is the right location. I just feel there needs to be a lot more discussion. I think we need to look at everything that's available to us, just because we don't want to be in a 4-year situation, town meeting after town meeting. So ultimately, it's the taxpayer that's going to decide our fate, and we have to do what we can to show them that we've looked at everything that there is. And we have been doing this. It's ongoing even as we speak. We're still looking. So that's that's my feelings right now. I think Janine's concerns, I do think those can be addressed in some form. So I'm not completely turned off, but I think there's more homework needs to be done.
Thank you, Ev. Sandy?
Although I like the floor plan and it checks off all the boxes for me, I really think it's wonderful. I'm still concerned and uncertain about the parking and the flow of traffic. When the expansion committee met, the first meeting, we thought the vision for this building would be a community building, not only a building for seniors. With 36 parking spaces and a room for 100 people, even if people doubled up in their cars, that's 72 people. And you need servers and if you have an event, there's just not enough room to park there. The other thing that bothers me is that you can't drive up to the door and drop someone off under a shelter. That bothers me. I think it's more convenient for someone to be able to get out of the car and scoot in, especially with our winters. I'm not here in the winter, but if I was, I definitely would want to be able to drop off right there. So those things, if they can be remedied, and I love your idea, Janine, about moving the space to the front. I kind of eyeballed that. I guess it's not as private to have it in the front right on High Road, but it gives you more parking places and a bigger space to get together, right? So I don't know. I love the layout and I'm excited to have it. And I hate to say to the town that we don't like it, but I still want to be able to have people like Cub Scouts come, or if somebody wants to have their baby shower there, there's room to park. And I'm getting older. I don't even like driving over there now, certain times of the day. So I don't know as it's going to ease up. I just need reassurance that that's going to happen and would be able to have events there. So maybe they can do that. Maybe they can do that. I just, as it looks to me right now, I can't see it.
Thanks. Thank you. I am just going to also mention parking. I can remember with the town hall, the way it is now in the parking, they are just trying to go to a selectmen's meeting, excuse me, my speech here, a selectmen's meeting that was controversial. You wouldn't be able to find a parking space. You would have to park at the bank, or if the butchery was closed, it wasn't probably the butchery all the time that I would be encroaching into their parking, or you'd park over by the green along the dirt area. And I'm hoping, I love the layout. I want, Cindy, I don't know if you've all seen the rendering. Before we close this meeting, I'll have her put the rendering up on the screen so you can actually see the building. I don't know if, oh, she's going to do that now. So it's a lovely, lovely looking building. It's huge, but we're taking equal spots with it that the town hall is. And in there is that room that we so wanted to be able to share with the community. By that, I mean, we would have our events there, our Christmas meal, our volunteer meal, where we always have to go someplace else and pay. like we go to a restaurant and we have to pay, I'm not sure how much, but, because I wasn't involved back then. Or Newburyport isn't going to allow us to use their council on aging anymore. It's only going to be available on weekends because they don't want to tie it up, and then somebody within the city wants it, and the town of Newbury has got it booked for that day. That's what happened. I think it was last year, and they almost canceled us, but they had second thoughts on it, and they did come through for us. So, but hopefully something will happen that will make it work, but because I love it, and I love town hall, and I love being that, in living on Plum Island. It's not a long drive for me because driving at night sometimes isn't my favorite thing. So, and I so appreciate the support that we're getting from the selectmen. Every one of them is looking for us to have new space, and they say it's long overdue, and it certainly is. And I'm glad we're all working on this the way we are. But it would be wonderful. But I hope you all, what I don't want to do is spend money on a building and then find out that we're in trouble as far as people not saying, I can't find anywhere to park. So, and I'm just trying to have common sense about it. But I don't know where else we would go, and I really don't want to go anywhere else. So I'm hoping somebody close by puts their house up for sale and we can have a parking lot. So fingers crossed. So that's what I have to say. I'm not trying to discourage it, but I'm just trying to be truthful and realistic about, because I know many times I was very into politics, and I would attend all the meetings, the controversial ones, and parking was all the problem, and try to get there early. And everybody would have the same idea, so you'd have to find a spot, and then you'd have to walk, pouring rain, whatever. So that's it. Thank you. You can put it down, Cindy, I think, unless somebody else has a comment.
I put my hand up.
Oh, go Bill.
I just wanted to talk about something Evelyn said. Evelyn said, ultimately, it's going to be up to the taxpayer.
That's true.
I kind of agree with that. But unfortunately, we have a lot of taxpayers in Newbury. A quorum for our town meeting where this stuff gets voted on is 140 people. We never have more than 300 people at a town meeting.
And it's the special interest people that will come out if it's something they really want or they don't want, and it's whoever gets the most people there.
Exactly. So, once again, you're going to have 8 or 9% of the total number of taxpayers in our town are going to decide what to do with town hall, the council on aging, just like the police station. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you look around, take a sober look on April 27th and see who's at town meeting, you're not going to find too many people, young people who have young families who are going to be there. Most people are retired, they're on fixed incomes, and they're very sensitive to their tax rate and pocketbook.
Right.
So that might work in our favor, I'm not sure, but that's why I say it's going to be interesting in terms of what happens and what gets spoken to. So
But whatever happens, let's hopefully we come up with a COA, a new one, and more space. So I'm gonna let Cindy have a few words before we adjourn.
Hand up if she, Evelyn, if you want to go first.
Go ahead, Evelyn, then I have a question.
Cindy,
Okay.
could you put the building down, please? Thank you.
It's just, I don't care how many people come to town meeting, it still ends up in the taxpayers' hands. And when I'm sitting there voting on something, I want to know that I want to know everything about it. I want to know all the facts. I want to know all the alternative measures that's been taken. So what I was trying to say is that we have to look at every aspect. We can't put 5 pounds of sugar or 10 pounds of sugar in a 5-pound bag. And I'm afraid that that's what it's going to be there. I'm not turning down anything, but we have a lot more work to do.
Go ahead, Jerry.
I just, speaking about parking spaces, how many would you consider adequate?
Let's see. That's a good question. Sometimes people come together, but like when you're going to a meeting, you usually don't. But I would have liked to have maybe at least 65.
Well, think of the West Newbury Town Hall. They don't even have 35. And the Council on Aging in Newburyport has less than 50, and they can accommodate all of the activities that are going on. I wouldn't make that the deciding factor.
Oh, so that's all Newburyport has? I guess I haven't done my homework.
If you
then.
go to West Newbury has minimal. But if you go to the Council on Aging, it's the block in the front and there's maybe 10 around the outside.
But what do they have for room inside? I mean, do they do major
What,
events?
the West Newbury Town Hall? Yeah, they do Zumba there. They have this back room that's completely active while the town hall activities are going on.
Well, that's great to know. I guess we have to start looking at that type of thing too. But like Evelyn said, we get it. I know what she means when she says,
Right.
make sure we've checked everything.
Everything. So
Yeah.
we don't get caught with, oh, why not? And why did you think of this?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else before I turn it over to Cindy? Janine, you have your hand up.
I was just gonna say, remember, we're sharing the parking space with Town Hall.
Right.
How many employees are there in Town Hall? So there goes 17 right away.
Yeah,
So-
look at around 13 or 14, but we also have to think of all the volunteers, even the volunteers that come to the COA.
Exactly. So,
That go to town hall for the tax write-off.
right.
So it's I wish it was a lot easier. So I'm going to turn it over to Cindy.
So Dana, do you want to go? You have your hand
Oh.
up? You're muted.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear
Yeah,
me? You know, I just, I like all the concepts. I haven't really got a good chance to look at the floor plan yet. But you know, as far as the parking goes, I just kind of thought about this, looking at the building. Anybody think about, for the employees and for the people that are working, how about an underground? Could we make an underground parking lot and get like maybe 30 or 40 more spots under the building? For a couple of more million? I mean, what's $2 more million, you know? I'm not trying to be funny, but I mean, I'm just,
no, I agree with you because other people have mentioned
but
that. to me.
Joyce, it's what you said earlier about, you know, if we build something and then all of a sudden we realize that it's not adequate, let's just say just because of the parking, you know, it would not be a bad idea to try and get a parking lot underneath the building.
We'd
not
have to go down under because we're right now at the level where a senior can walk in.
No,
but if we-
I know that, you know, make
Yeah,
it,
so
yeah,
if we
put it-
raise
put
it
it-
up,
put a parking lot in the basement, and you don't even have to have it open to the public. You could just have it for employees and volunteers and you can, you know, swipe in, swipe out kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know,
that's something to see if it's feasible.
I'm just thinking, you know, because
Yeah.
I think that most of you, I like the location. You know, I kind of wish that there was enough space in the current building for the COA, but I know that there isn't. So, and the combination of the town hall and the COA together, I'm not really big on that, but I think it might be the only way you're gonna be able to sell it to the taxpayer. But the problem with that is now you are kicking the can like 5 years down the road. You know, where I would like to see the COA built now, you know, and with the money that we have already in the bank, you know, we could get started on that, you know, this year if we really want to move it forward. So, you know, there's pros and cons to all the decisions. It's not going to be an easy one. And I do think that the annual town meeting on the 27th is going to be really interesting. But I want to do what you guys want to do. And I just looking at the building, I thought about the parking lot underneath the building. I mean, big cities, they do that all the time.
Yeah.
It's pretty common, you know, and you could have the entrance to it, maybe like on the fire department side over there or something, you know, off of Morgan Ave, so that you're not having the cars like in and out of the front of the building or anything, you know, I don't know.
Well, the parking for this building faces Morgan Ave. The entrance to and from this building is going to be, it's facing Morgan Avenue.
Right, I saw that.
So the traffic is coming in off of Morgan Avenue, and anybody that's parked on the north side of the building, they're going to exit out onto High Road.
Right.
I almost said Route 1.
The little parking lot that it used to, I think it was Noyce's, the Citgo station
Yeah.
owned it right behind the building. Is that town property now too?
Well, that's the new police station.
No, this is behind the old town hall, there's a parking lot right behind. You know, if you're looking at the front of the building from Morgan Avenue,
Yeah. Oh, no.
it's behind, it's on the other side of the building.
No, that was always the towns, and they used to let Vern use it to park their overflow of cars that they were working
Okay.
on.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that piece of property is gonna, the building is gonna be on that piece of property also.
Well, it's part of the whole, yes.
Right.
But I don't know
Okay.
if the building's gonna be on it. I think it'll probably be more parking that'll be over there.
I was just thinking about the underground parking. I think it's a possibility, and
I
you might be
wouldn't
able to
rule
get
it
through.
out.
Yeah, anyway, that's all I got. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for listening to me.
Appreciate your input. Okay, Cindy.
All right, so as far as what Janine's concerns are in regards to people being able to get into our space, I had actually had someone, a select board member, raise concerns that the current location that we're in is not safe for us. I've spoken to the staff that works here. Not one of us feels unsafe in this building. But I felt it was incumbent upon me to see what other options are. So one thing that I did was I toured the current previous town hall, previous police department building to look at that, where this building would go. That building is not someplace I would ever ask staff members to go in, let alone the seniors in this town, the way it currently is now. Aside from the setup not being really appropriate, I don't even know what that smell is when I walked in the building. Like, that building I don't think you can salvage that building. I also had gone over to meet with Chief Lucy at the new police station, and every room to get into every place in that police station, and I understand it's a police station, there's a keypad and there was a swipe, like they had to use a card to swipe and then enter a code to get into each individual room. My thought is to have something like that for all of our rooms. Obviously, if someone from town hall needed to use that big room for a meeting, you know, the town administrator or whoever would have the code to that to that room and use their key card to swipe. But every other room, the offices, the all the activity rooms, the kitchen, like it wouldn't just be open to people. My intention is everything would be secure. In addition to the fact that we have files on people, not everything is on the computer. But you know, even though files are locked that have people's personal information on them, if someone's really intent on getting into a file cabinet, they're going to get into a file cabinet. So my intention is to have all of those rooms locked. So that would be my thought process on a very valid concern. I understand where you're coming from. And I certainly wouldn't want to be coming in the morning and startled by someone who's hiding in the building. I totally understand where you're coming from. As far as parking, I would say to you, look at the parking we have now and the engagement we have now. Obviously, the plan is to increase engagement, offer more options for people, also offer different times. My thought is for that volunteer luncheon or the holiday luncheon, maybe we do those on a Friday when town hall is closed. That opens up
All right.
more. We can do, and I'm happy to do that. Just because we don't work on Fridays doesn't mean no one's in the building. We can plan it for a Friday. We can try and offer off-site parking where we shuttle people. That could be for a big town meeting or whatever too. You have shuttles that people park maybe here at the Newbury Elementary School and we shuttle them over. I would hate to base the parking on 2 major events a year when the daily parking needs are not that huge. I think 25 spaces for the Council on Aging is adequate. But I understand where you're coming from for the bigger events. And again, I think we just need to think outside of the box. It would be great if there was a lot nearby that opened up and we could pave it and make it a parking lot. The idea of, underground parking, if that's even an option, all outside of the box ideas. And it's something I can certainly bring back to the architect and to Tracy to see if those are options for us. But I think, doing things on an everyday basis, we're not going to need an excessive amount of parking. I looked at space, just so you guys are aware, I did look at space at the current town hall on Kent Way. Again, because there was concern about this particular building that we're in. There is an open suite there. It's a matter of basically giving the Council on Aging staff private offices. There's one main room, probably about the size of the room that we have right now. Then there would be office space. And there's office space all around, kind of really small office spaces all around. I could ask them to knock down some walls to give us another small room. With COVID restrictions, I don't know how many people could fit into that room for, if we were to, let's say we were doing a yoga class. I don't know if it could be like 3 or 4 people. I don't know. It's a very small space. They would also have to build out the kitchen. It's basically like cabinetry and a microwave kind of a thing. So in order for it to be a functioning kitchen. So what I did was I had asked to go see it. Funny enough, someone who said they were with the Council on Aging had already gone to or reached out to this woman to see if that was even that was you, to see if it was we didn't know, to see if it was an appropriate space. So she gave me a floor plan. I marked it up with, take these walls down, leave these here. You'd need to build out the kitchen. And I passed it off to her and asked her to get back to Tracy, the town administrator, in terms of construction costs and then what the lease information would be. So that's now hopefully in the hands of Tracy. I also reached out to the Conservation Commission to see, I was hearing some chatter about space near here at the Newbury Elementary School. So from what I understand, there is almost 15 acres plus or minus. The opinion of the conservation agent, based on, I gave him the size of the building that we were looking for, just our square footage. I said, based on this square footage plus a need for parking, could this fit on that site? There's a significant amount of wetland resource on that area. He also stated that an analysis of utility infrastructure would need to be performed to see if sewer, water, gas affect that development of that site. So I know we were talking about sort of making sure we've looked at all our options. I've reached out to Tracy. She was involved in those emails with the conservation agent, and I believe she's looking into what options are in terms of those utilities, and then finding out more about the wetlands and, you know, taking it a step further from our conservation agent from the town to see if that's something that could be built upon. Is there any other location anyone can think of that I can reach out to? I can tour, I can ask questions, because I'm happy to do that. You know, if there are other options for us, we certainly want to try and suss it out. Joyce, you're muted. Joyce, you're muted.
There, all right. I thank you. I really appreciate your research and your looking into this. So I don't think there's any other town-owned land that's available to us. Does anybody else have anything they want to say before? All of this is good. This is what we need to do. We have to check our other sources and see where we end up. Because like we all like the building, the rendering, we all like the space. And if we can work out the parking, then that would be helpful. And then it comes down to the money and getting the approval from the people. So anybody else want to add anything before we leave? No?
I would just like to mention that an idea I had on an interim basis. I was wondering if it would be possible to take the current space at the school and turn that into offices. So that they would be the privacy and all that they're looking for. And then to have events off-site. Pettit Hall is a little jewel on Plum Island, and that will hold 75 people. It's been offered to us. You could have your classes there, exercise classes. They have a lovely kitchen. You could have a dinner there. It's only a Band-Aid, but it's something that could be used. And you have other sites that you could have off-site events, the library. I'm sure even if we could offer the community rooms at Oak Ridge or Quaker Hill, depending on the size, of course, but I just wanted to see how people felt about that Band-Aid approach until we get something more permanent.
So I would say a lot of things that we're looking to do in terms of programs, because we're heading into the warmer months, is to do things outside, which, trust me, is so anxiety producing. Like this event on Thursday, I've been watching my weather apps for as long as that day has been in the weekly view. And I'm quite disappointed that it looks like it's going to be fairly cold. There could be events that we schedule and it's going to rain that day and we have to cancel it. But with COVID, I think our best bet to engage as many people as possible is to do things outdoors. And I also want to utilize, we have a lot of town-owned space that we can use. I just need to go through the select board, I believe. I have to go through their assistant to say, this is the date that we want this event for this location, and just to make sure that no one else in town is utilizing it. As far as us having private office space, like I'm in the back room right now, we don't use this back office. We save it for, like, the three of us are sort of separated by little partition walls. It certainly doesn't give privacy, but if anyone needs privacy, they always have the option to grab their laptop and come back here, whether it's to meet one-on-one with someone or to take your laptop back here, do a Zoom meeting or whatever it is. So I would hate to spend money on creating office space here when I don't think that's really the priority. My priority would rather be on, you know, putting our energy and effort into finding more programs we can do and would do them elsewhere. If I can do something here for a day, you know, we'll do it. But again, we're so limited by the number of people we can have indoors still at this time. I don't know what the total number is. It might, I don't know if it's up to 25 or not. But did you say it was Peter Hall, Evelyn? Because I'll reach out to them.
Okay.
Is that what it is, Peter Hall on Plum Island?
It's Plum Island Taxpayers Hall, but you really don't have to reach out to them because Ronnie Barrett's the president. And he's already told Evelyn that we can have whatever we want there.
And that's at no charge, or is there like a fee for that? And I'm assuming I'd have to get like dates and stuff to him.
That's correct. I don't believe there's a charge.
And winter's coming also, and COVID's going away, and it's going to be 2 to 3 years, or at least 2 years before we actually see,
True.
I think, a completed building. So I think if you, we don't have to spend the money on office space if you have enough privacy now, but if you wanted to run some events there, when the weather's too cold, it's an option that I wouldn't pass up.
Okay. I mean, the other thing is the library, like Evelyn said, I know that bigger events were held at the library in the past with their big room. I'm certainly not averse to reaching out and asking to use different spaces.
Yeah,
if it's
you
something that
will
can't
make
take
out
place.
fine, Cindy. We know you will.
But I like the
put
Peter
it
Hall
all
option.
together, girl. Okay, if we're all done, anybody want to say an ending comment, or are we ready to adjourn? But before I adjourn this meeting, I want to set the date for the next meeting. And the third Monday of the month is on May 17th. So our next meeting will be then. And thank you for all your input. We'll work this out. We'll just see what's available, and thank you, Dana, for speaking up about underground. And I'm going to say, do I have to take a vote to adjourn?
Mhm.
I think I do, yes. All right, is everybody ready to adjourn? I'll call all your names. Let's start with Janine.
Yes.
And then we're going, where's my list? Bill,
Yes.
Jerry's left, Evelyn,
Yes.
Sandy. And
Yes.
yes, here too. All right, everybody have a great day, what's left of it. Bye.
Bye.